funny.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hey, everybody. We want to thank you guys for joining us in our weekly sales and marketing mastermind call. And today we're actually wrapping up our series called Geographical Farming and going through the 10 most common mistakes. And we're transitioning into something in one of my favorite series because I think it's going to have the most impact for agents that are doing well but are looking to go to the next level, and particularly something that's very important to your culture as you start hiring and bringing on agents. So if you're an agent that's doing well, trying to go to the next level, you're going to really want to tune in to the next series called Prospecting and Sales Secrets. We are going to take probably the deepest dive that you've ever experienced when it comes to prospecting on your SOI, your have-not-mets, breaking that down into for sale by owners, into expireds, into geographical leads, prospecting through open houses, prospecting internet leads. And what we're going to do is we're going to connect our multi-channel marketing approach and technology and making sure we're constantly going back to making sure our marketing and our sales process is in sync, right? There's nothing more than, worse than, driving down the road and you just feel your car tugging and pulling, and over time, if you don't fix that and you don't get it back in alignment, it creates other issues down the road. Well, business is the same way. As if your sales and marketing plan is not in line with each other, there's major problems that it can create down the road. And so really excited to dive into that series. I'll talk about that a little bit more. Just to do a recap, if this is your first time on with us, what we do is we pick a particular topic within our sales and marketing plan, within one of the sections in the plan, and then we take a deep dive into it. So we've been doing geographical farming, and what we're going to do is we're going to send a summary graphic out that's going to summarize our whole conversation into pretty much a 7-step process through a graph that you can take with you and say, okay, this is how I execute a geographical farm if I just follow these 7 steps and I do really well with it. And we got an exciting announcement coming up for you. We're gonna launch a 21-day challenge, okay? And that 21-day challenge is gonna launch sometime next week. And what that challenge is all gonna be around is developing and taking this information, launching a brand new geographical farm, and then all the participants in it. So the winner, there's going to be a winner. There's going to be 1, 2, and 3, first place, second place, and third place. So if you're a competitive person, you're going to like this challenge. And we're going to have a prize associated with every single one of those challenges, or every single one of the first, second, and third place position. Starting with first place is going to get $1,000 cash, along with some cool T-shirts and some other gifts and some geographical leads. And then second place is going to have some cool gifts, and third place is going to have some cool gifts. If anything, it's not really about the money, but I don't know about you, if there's any kind of incentive or just something fun associated with the challenge, it's going to help us all get better. And hopefully it'll give you a time frame, a really focused time frame to get this done. So how the challenge is going to work and how it's going to launch as we launch it, it'll be really simple. We have a step, kind of a simple step each day throughout the 21 days. You'll be given a private Facebook group. We'll go live in that Facebook group. It'll be a quick action step each day. And then at the end of the 21 days, whoever has the most appointments and the most listings from that 21-day challenge is going to win. So if you're interested in participating in that challenge, it's going to be free for you guys, okay? But it's going to be a paid challenge for the marketing or the consulting team, Club Wealth, and my network that I just do some consulting with outside of here. They're gonna have to pay for it, but it's going to be free for you as a Ren client. So in the chat below, if you're interested in participating in this 21-day challenge and really getting everything that you've learned from the geographical farm up off the ground and getting it implemented and having some fun in the meantime and meeting some cool new people and interacting in a different way, just real quick right now, drop a chat, say I'm interested, and we'll reach back out to you when that challenge opens up. Okay, we'll reach back out to you when that challenge opens up. So Mary said she's interested. Tammy said she's interested. Awesome, that's great. Who else we got? Nobody else? Cool. We'll definitely reach back out to you, Mary and Tammy. We're going to also launch this. Dvorka said she's interested. Donnie says she's interested. So what we'll do is we're gonna limit this to probably, Jonathan, what's realistic to run a good challenge? 15, 20 people to run this the right way with the hands-on, somewhere around there?
I'd say 10 to 15 for sure. We can make that work.
So we'll make sure you guys have first rights to access the challenge. Again, it's free because you're a current client. That will be available to you first, and then whoever's left over, we'll open it up to our other clients that are not on this training, and then from there we'll open it up to the public, and maybe we'll add another 10 people outside of our client base, just to have a really good mix of people, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. And anytime we run a challenge like this, you almost always get a couple transactions on a worst case scenario out of it, right? And on a best case scenario, you're going to have this whole thing, this whole system set up within your sales and marketing plan. So that's a quick announcement with the 21-day challenge coming up. And Jonathan, I think, has a quick update on the Facebook tool, and which was an action step from last week's coaching session. So if you could, Jonathan, take over from here and just give your quick update.
For sure. And for anybody who is interested in participating in the Facebook beta, I did drop the link of how to access that. You've all been registered. Everyone who submitted their information last week, it is officially turned on for you right now. And so again, please keep in mind it is still in beta, so there's a little bit of lag sometimes, a little bit of the system running a bit slow. But other than that, all the functionality is there for you to get in there, start messing around, and even create a couple ads to get running right away. So if you're interested in doing that, I already dropped the video link in there on how to do it. Excuse me. I not only review how to access the system, but also some of the best practices that goes with it. And so it's available to everybody right here in the chat now.
Part of the challenge, the 21-day challenge, is we're going to take a deep dive and actually get ads launched for you to help you convert and surround your geographical farm. So that's going to be part of the challenge. We want you guys to really feel comfortable with it. I'm familiar with that. So Tammy says, I don't see the video in the chat. Great question, Tammy.
It is the link at the very top. I'm about to drop it again for anybody that is looking here.
Yep.
Oh, it looks like Claire just dropped it again as well.
And again, remember, at your disposal at any time, you have a trained and certified sales and marketing specialist that can help you launch ads, right? And we'll do this with you. So at any point you get stuck, all you got to do, Jonathan, is reach out to support, right? And they'll set up a strategy session with them.
Yes, my only request for that is anybody who would like to set that up, just simply send an email to support@rapsuccess.com. I'll put that in the chat as well, and we can set up any kind of one-on-ones to review all of the different pieces of that there.
But right now, they are all on the beta, correct?
Oh, yes. So all of them have full access to everything
access to
available right now.
Okay.
And if you wanted that one-on-one or a little bit more of a deep dive, the video is pretty comprehensive. It's about 16 minutes long. And that's, again, you're going to get from point A to point Z. You'll be fully running an ad in about that time. But if you did want a little extra help here and there, always feel free to submit a ticket to us, and we'll get back to you right away and set up that one-on-one training.
Yeah, and I think it's a fair request to watch the video first, right? Before they call in or set up a time.
Definitely, because that's going to be, we will literally be redoing everything in the video and referencing the video the whole way. So that's definitely the place to start right there.
Janet Hall said she may need help because the MLS was not connected. So that's totally cool.
If you watch the video, there's a workaround to that right now. And you do not have to have your MLS connected right now to be able to run the different types of ads that we're going to show you how to do in there.
Good. That's a good point. All right. Any other questions before we move on to our topic for the day and our training for the day? Anybody else have anything? All right. So Yeah, cool. So just not our listings yet. Okay, so she said cool, so just not our listings yet, Jonathan. What does that mean?
So you can still promote your listings. It just you'll have to copy and paste the information from the MLS. I mean, again, we have a whole tutorial on how to do that the best way. So instead of it just automatically moving over, you can still promote your listings and get a traffic driving ad set up, which means you can move your people that are clicking on the ad directly to your website or to another area, or set up what we call a lead form, which is where they can submit information as well. You can utilize all of the different styles of leads. The only limitation we have right now is, since we are still working on the MLS integrations, you'll just have to add the information through copy and paste versus it just getting pulled over. But all of the functionality on running the ads and stuff like that is already there.
Cool. Awesome. That's great. All right. So let's, you're welcome, Janet. Let's dive into today's topic. And like I mentioned earlier, we're going to probably do a 7-week series or longer on the topic of sales or on the topic of prospecting and sales. And the reason why is because there's a lot of different niches and a lot of ways to attack this business, right? And it's one thing to have a marketing plan, but it's another thing to have a sales plan that goes in conjunction with your marketing plan. And my conviction, just so you guys know where this is coming from, is our industry spends a lot of time talking about bells and whistles and cool different marketing things and cool technology, right? And we've kind of thrown, and I hate this expression, but the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to actually what converts and makes us money. And that's the reality is prospecting, follow up, and selling and converting, right? An appointment into sales. And so one of the things that has changed my career and my life and my ability to make an income for my family, but also to grow a business and to grow a very, very large team, both on a brokerage side and also as we're expanding our brokerage, but also on a corporate level, is the ability to be able to effectively have your sales and your marketing work together, right? So just I want to make sure this makes sense. Who feels the same way that I do, that there's a lot of conversation now in the marketplace about all the different bells and whistles and all these cool tools and different things? When it comes to a deep drill down on actually how to convert, there's not as much conversation that's happening out there. I just want to make sure I'm not losing my mind. I want to know if you guys agree or disagree. It's totally cool either way. And Ron, if anyone wants to kind of chime in, if this is, if that you agree or not, when it comes to my assessment of what's happening in the industry right now.
So I totally agree with you. You know that we're flooded with leads, flooded. The problem is that you get the leads and you don't make any money because you don't know how to convert the lead into income. And that's the hard part. And it's quite a science and an art at the same time. And what we have seen is that with the systems we have managed to get warmer leads than in the past, which to convert them makes it a bit easier, if you will, but you still have to have that skill and that art of being able to convert it to income.
Absolutely. And just to kind of put it out there, just to get an idea of our audience, how many people have at least one agent or on their team, or somebody on their team that's responsible to help you convert your leads? Just by a show of chat. Okay, Donnie does. That's great. Got a bunch of people. Awesome. And how many of you ever been frustrated because of the lack of follow-up that they've had, or the lack of conversion versus the money that you're spending on those leads, right? How many people have been frustrated with that? I know as an operating manager within the brokerage, and Ron, I know we've been, we've had frustrations with that, right? And so it's something that I coach and train on a high level. I'm working with actually one of my coaching consulting clients that I'm working with one-on-one right now. Her name is Terry Bias, and she's got about 200 leads a month coming in, and she's also doing a geographical farm. So we've set her up on her geographical farm. And her biggest thing right now is getting the agents to follow up and contact the leads and then convert them. And so she has recently had me train and coach and my team member, Mark Howell, training coach and inside sales agent, to help out with that effort, but also put some standards in place and try to create a little bit of a different culture. And I want you to really hone in and write that word down as a culture of prospecting and sales. And now we understand that it's tough, it's difficult. We're all, as an independent agent, some people are independent, some people are on our teams. But I would submit to you is that if you're growing a team, okay, there's nothing more important for you and also for your team to have a prospecting and lead conversion culture. And we're going to define more and more what that means and what that is about as we kind of, dig and take a deeper dive into this. But so we're going to cover pretty much every prospecting script you can think of. We're going to break it down. We're going to dissect it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to go after it and have a really good, healthy dialogue when it comes to prospecting. So a couple things that I want to talk about just really quickly, and then we're going to actually dive into our script of the day. One of the things that I really, really want to just hit on that I think is so important is we have to make sure, and this might be obvious to a lot of people because we got a lot of really, I'm blessed and fortunate to have you guys as clients. We got a lot of really great entrepreneurs here, right? So I don't want to be Captain Obvious here, but it's important as a framework to say this, right? If our business, our sales and marketing activities have to match our business plan, okay? Our sales and marketing activities need to match our business plan. If we're not, if we have our business plan, right? And let's just say we want to go to 200, maybe we're at, like Terry right now, she's at 200 transactions trying to get to 300 transactions. And we've had this conversation about breaking down the reasons why she's not going to get to 200 transactions. And one of the things that we talk about is, okay, what's your business plan? What's your sales and marketing plan, right? To get there. Do you know how many, and let's start with this. Do you know how many leads you need? Okay. Do you know based on how many leads you need in your own internal conversion rate, how many appointments that's going to turn into? And then do you know how many appointments that based on how many appointments it's going to turn into, what your show up rate's going to be, and then what your close rate's going to be, right? And then if you're really good, the sales doesn't stop when it closes. The way that I train it, the sale's not over until you've actually delivered a great experience, enough to at least gotten a referral or at least asked for a referral and or gotten a testimonial from a client. That's when you've actually made a sale. Like, that's how I train it. Now, obviously from a monetary standpoint, there's an exchange, a monetary exchange. And by definition, that's a sale, right? I get that. But I want us to think through that process and that pipeline and say, hey, what's your goal? So just out of curiosity, just for some interaction here, what's your transaction goal? Okay. And I want you to seriously, over the course of this prospecting and sales conversation that we're going to have here, I really want you to take a hard look at this, okay? And say, what is your transaction goal, okay? And let's figure this out together. Let's figure out how many, if you don't already know, and if you already do know, if you're willing to share your metrics, I'd love for you to put them in. But based on what your transaction goal is, how many leads you need, how many new leads you need, based on what's converting in your database and what you need new coming in, right? And ultimately, how many appointments you need to go out on between you and your team every single month based on your closing rate to hit that transaction goal. So by a show of hands, how many people would like to work and really need to hone in on that number by a show of hands in chat? They really, really need to hone in on that number to figure it out. Maybe just dissect it a little bit more to figure out what that number needs to be in order to make sure that their sales and marketing activities match their actual goal. Okay. So I want to throw that question out there. How many people need to really hone in on that? And then on the reverse, yes, Isaiah, I know my numbers. Type that in. If you know your numbers already and you're way ahead of this conversation, you can type that in there too. Okay. So Tammy says me. Mary says I do. Okay. I need to double up to 100 transactions. Okay, that's fair. So I have a worksheet that's going to help us kind of walk through this conversation. All right, because at the end of the day, the reality is we got to make sure that our prospecting and our sales activities match, right? Match that goal, right? And it's a huge part of what we're doing. So I just want to encourage you to look at that. We're going to talk more about that next time, but it's really super important. And we have this really cool calculator tool that we're gonna give to you. We're gonna talk about next week once it's done. You can plug in your transaction goal, how much money you want to make, all right, and plug in your ratios, and it'll actually tell you how many appointments you need for the year. It'll break it down and tell you exactly how many appointments that you need to generate a year and how many presentations you need to do to actually hit your transaction goal. And now you can really hone in on that, right, and get super focused on that goal. And the reason why I bring this up is because I've met with, small agents, agents just getting going, and agents that are super successful. And you'd be surprised how many of them haven't thought through this in a while. And so it's really, really, really important. And then saying, okay, what's my plan of attack, right? How many deals do I think I can draw out of my database and my SOI, right? And then from there say, okay, what are the niches I need to go after? Geographical farming, right, being one of them. Internet leads being another one. And now we go at it, and now we have fun with it. And so leading into that, we're going to start off talking about geographical farming, breaking down the psychology of that as being one of the listing, or one of the ways that we're going to draw more listings. And what I would encourage you guys to do, I know we have agents that don't want to get more listings because you like working with buyers, and some that are looking to get more on the listing side of the business. But my recommendation when you build out your business plan and you're focusing on prospecting is that you think about a ratio of 75 to 25, right? So it's real hard in this market, but 75% of your business, shooting for that as a number, be on the listing side, and then 25% on the sales side, right? And trying to work towards that number. And the reason why is because of efficiency and maximizing your time and opportunity costs. I want you to write that down. We don't think about this a lot in this industry, but I want you to think about this. It's your time and opportunity costs is probably the most expensive, or it's probably the most costly expense that you have in your business outside of maybe some marketing and other things. And so I want to open it up a little bit, Ron. What do I mean by time and opportunity cost when it comes to revenue generating activities, right, versus activities that don't make money?
Well, when you look at, if you're 75% as a lister, 25% of a buyer, well, some of your listings are going to turn into buyers. They sell their house, they buy a house. Mm-hmm. But with all those buyers that are in the market, we'll just use our New York market right now, where you have more buyers for every single listing than you could possibly want to have. Think about the amount of time that you have to spend writing offers, showing property to one buyer, let alone 25% of your business generated from buyers. Think of all the buyers that you're going to spend all that. How are you possibly going to be able to maintain that listing inventory of 75%? So the important thing is to think of this. Get a buyer's agent. Let them do the work of for the buyers. You work with your listings and your clients, your sellers who become buyers. And believe me when I tell you, the revenue stream you'll generate just from having a buyer's agent, and again, they're doing all that legwork. Yes, you got to oversee them or what have you, but we just experienced it ourselves. Actually, yesterday, we have an amazing agent who works heavily with buyers, who is so stressed out. We really thought that he was in trouble. He was in a lot of trouble yesterday.
He's so out of balance.
We did a recon to try to revive this guy. Yeah. And I'll tell you, it's so sad because
he's a successful agent too, right, Ron? Like very successful. But he ended up working with so many buyers. He literally The
He got
stutter in his
backwards.
voice was scary.
Oh, he got
The stutter in
backwards.
his voice was
Yeah.
scary.
But
Yeah.
his main thrust was buyers, and he lost track of the fact that if I have listings, they're going to sell quickly, and I move to the next listing. I've always said this. If you can have anywhere from 8 to 10 well-priced, in good condition, in a good location listings in your portfolio at any given time, you will do $6 million a year, and just think of all the time you'll have to yourself. And people don't look at it that way. You don't need 35 listings, but
Yep.
10 at a time. You sell 4, get 4 more. And the only way you're going to do that is have a plan, marketing plan, prospecting plan. The only way you're going to do it. If you're chasing buyers, if you're running buyers all over the community, trying to, and writing offers, oh, we didn't get that one, we didn't get that, we got beat out, we got beat out. It's a market all over our country.
Yep.
Look at the time you're spending. And then you end up like cuckoo. I mean, it definitely, it'll wear you down, burn you out.
Does anyone feel like that right now in this market? You know, I want to open up to people in the chat. Do you guys feeling that way where you're just like, hey, look, I got to get more listings because I'm running buyers all over the place? Is anyone else feeling that way? Like one of our agents was that is in our brokerage. Yeah, Janet Hall says absolutely feeling that way. Totally. And I'm telling you what the reason why we're bringing this conversation up, because it is a pain point and it's real. Tammy says, yes, 7+ offers on everything. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, poor Tammy.
Yeah, absolutely. And so why are we having this conversation? Because your prospecting and marketing plan, if you look at how we position you, that's why we really feel the geographical farm is so important to get really good at, right? And to go after. And it steps us out of our comfort zone a lot. Let's be real about it, right? It's going to challenge our mindset. This conversation, if we're being real about it, it's going to challenge our mindset. It's going to challenge our attitude, and it's going to maybe help us look at things from a different perspective, which is not always easy, right? It's not always easy to do, but I'm asking us to have an open mind that if we're willing to push through that and get through maybe some of the barriers of what it takes to go after the listing side of the business a little bit more, if we're not already there, okay, of what the rewards can be. And here's the thing. Doing more business should not mean sacrificing your personal freedom. I want you to write that down, okay? Doing more business should not mean that it always has to sacrifice your personal freedom. And that could play out into all different things: time with your kids, charity, right? Things we want to do with our church, hobbies, whatever your motives are. I'm a little bit of a different creature because I actually enjoy working 80 to 100 hours a week. I like it. And my wife puts up with it, thank God, but I also have good balance. I have barriers that are in place. So I'm not a good example of probably, but when it comes to your personal freedom, if I would submit to you that if you get good at prospecting and you really hone your marketing plan in by attracting listings, trying to attract more listings, okay, then you're going to be able to do more business and still maintain that personal freedom. All right. And so not always easy, and things go in phases. They really, really do. Here's what it's going to break down to: prospecting. It's going to break down to 3 different things to master the art and science of developing what I call a listing machine. Okay. So is 3 things: your skill level, both from you and throughout your organization. That's barrier number 1. Barrier number 2 is your process. So remember, I'm going to hear me say this all the time: people, process, and tools. The second thing is the frequency of which you are actually doing the activities, or your team is doing the activities to get more listings and to draw more listings. So people, process, right? And then the actual tools, how effective you're utilizing the tools that we've given you, right? And that you've opted in to choose to use to help you give that leverage to convert, right? So just remember, if there's any time that you're ever something's not working, it's actually more simple and not as complicated in business as we make it out to be. The reason why it's not working, it's either the people, it's the process, or the tools. And it's the same thing as we dive into marketing and sales. And when we talk about actually diving into geographical farming. So frequency is a huge thing. Skill level is a huge thing, and making sure that you have the right tools in place and that you're using those tools to make constant contact, right? Over and over and over again, right? Really, really big things. Now that we have that foundation, let's get into the number of contacts that we should be making a day, all right? So when you look at the size of your database, you know how many leads you have in your database. How many outreaches should we be making a day? I know we've probably all heard a lot of this training, maybe as far as outreaches and contacts, but I don't know if we're honest. We got to do it, right? We got to take action, and we got to do it. So, what's realistic goal when it comes to prospecting, whether it be through a geographical farm or pick another lead source, doesn't matter, whatever you feel comfortable with. What's a realistic goal that you can commit to, or that you can have somebody on your team commit to make in contacts a day? And so obviously I've done this training a lot. I know it's worked for our brokerage. Everyone's situation's a little bit different, right? What's a realistic goal for you? And whatever you're willing to commit to, if it's zero, it's zero. Okay. But if you're buying into this at all, right, what are you willing to commit to as far as contacts a day moving forward here after we've had this conversation? What's realistic goal? Drop it in the chat. Okay. We'd love to hear what you're willing to commit to. All right. And we want to be able to help out with that and help you track your results and help you overcome maybe some of the obstacles you might run into along the way. So what are you willing to commit to? That's the question. And then we're going to actually dive into what's going to hold us back and stop us from doing this. Okay. So let's talk about actually geographical farming. Okay. So 10 a day. Great. Awesome. Thank you, Tammy. That's awesome. Donnie says, are you talking about contacts in general, specific sphere of influence, or new contacts? Donnie, that's a great question. I like to break it down into two different buckets. How many contacts through people that you know? And if you're paying for leads, especially, right? How many contacts through people that you have not met? I think it's important to have a good balance in that. Does anyone want to chime in there on that conversation, on that balance that between contacting people in your sphere and leads that maybe you're paying for, or new leads coming in, what that should look like? Christina, could you maybe chime in on that?
Sure. When you're looking at the number of leads, I mean, it depends on a lot of times on the lead source too, and the type of leads that you're working.
Yep.
I mean, I feel like we go through about, anywhere from 300 to 400 a day, but actually connecting with them and having a conversation with them, yep, could be more along the lines of 20 to 30, having a good conversation with them.
Yeah. So that would be my recommendation too, is that try to get up to 30 to 40 contacts a day as a rule of thumb. Is if you look at all the top producers that are really drawing a good amount of business, both from their have not met and their have met, and are crushing it, they try to get to that 40 number as many times as possible. But at the same time, I'm a proponent of just starting with something, starting with one thing, one commitment, even if it's 10, 15, and then sticking with that commitment. It's absolutely huge. So Jonathan, from a technology standpoint, right, just to quickly give people a glimpse, maybe we could show them the best way to sort, and maybe they already know, but just, I don't want to assume anything, to sort through and pull up their have not mets and their geographical farming leads versus the ones that are in their SOI. I'd like to maybe just do a quick technical, look at how they pull those up, as I'm kind of transitioning here into the script. Okay.
Sure. Give me one second here and I'll pull it up in just a moment.
Yep. And so a couple things that are important when it comes to prospecting, we talked about last week, and I'm going to reiterate what we talked about. We talked about last week the importance of, and we're going to do a little quiz here, the importance of scripting versus tone. Okay. Which one is more important, the script you're using or your tone? Drop it in the chat. Which one's more important, script or tone? Little pop quiz. Okay. What's more important? Both, but tone. I love it, Janet. Both, but tone. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I have some really interesting responses from a private Facebook group I'm a part of that I think you guys are going to enjoy. But just remember that only 15 to 16%, okay, of your results when it comes to prospecting is actually what you're saying. Okay. The rest is how you say it. It's the tone, it's the pace, it's the hesitation, it's the modulation. Our industry as a whole has it backwards. Because the reality is there's tons of scripts out there that work, right? The framework is there. But what do? We get the script, we want to change it 42 times, right? And we want to keep changing the script, and we want to keep changing the script, and we want to keep changing the script. So when we train a new agent or a new prospector that's coming on board with us, what we do is the first step is memorization. So whatever script that you use, and we're going to give you some samples when it comes to using scripts you're going to have samples of each script if you don't have them already. But the biggest thing is the first step is me. If you have a team member, like, I love Janet said, you have a team member that's going to work on this with you. Okay. But the first step is making sure that you memorize and internalize that script. Okay. The biggest problem we have is we are thinking about what we're going to say when we're on the call. All right. And how much does my wife love when I'm not engaged in the conversation and I'm thinking about something else if she's talking to me? How much does she love that? She hates it, right? She hates it because she knows I'm not really listening. And this is what happens. We start talking over, we're disconnected from the conversation. We're not hearing what they're saying. And it's virtually impossible to use our active listening skills when we're prospecting over the phone or even in person if we have to think about what we're going to say next. It's very, very difficult. So people ask me, well, Isaiah, are you telling me to become a script reader? No, that's not what I'm telling you. What I am saying, though, is the general guiding principles on that script and your main objections and what you're going to say to be really effective at lead conversion, okay, and to help your team be effective at it. It's the art and science of this coming together to get to the point where you don't have to think about what you're going to say. It's called unconscious competence, right? Where you can get to the point where you're so good, you don't know, and it takes time, right? That comes with time and repetition. And that's why it goes back to our process. Ron, if we only prospect once every other week and make 10 calls, right? Are we ever going to get to the point of unconscious competence?
Never. You got to practice.
It's not going to happen, right? As my grandmother used to say, Isaiah, you're not fooling anybody else but yourself, right? She used to tell me that all the time, right? So you're only fooling yourself, right? So, and that's where our activities have to match our goals, right? Or else we're just fooling ourselves, right? And so it comes with repetition. It all kind of plays together. And so this first step here is so important, is just to make sure that you, whatever script that you're using, or a guide, if you don't want to call it a script, right? Make sure you get that internalized. Then what happens is once you have a general idea of what you're going to say on that type of lead, then the creativity and your personality comes out, right? Nobody wants to hear a freaking robot, right? Nobody wants to hear a robot, and then nobody wants to talk to somebody that's not paying attention to what they're saying, right? And that's what happens on the opposite extremes. We have one extreme where we have no script and they're just winging it, right? And they're not connected to anything because they're just winging it. And we have the other one extreme it's very, very robotic. And the art and science is bringing the two together, right? And so that's the first step, is memorization, and then internalization, and then making sure that you're coming across very natural. How do you do that? get a role play partner, like we talked about, and making sure that you're constantly giving each other feedback. All right. I have a really great scorecard. Mark, I don't know if you can find this quick. All right. I want to give you guys a scorecard that we use to measure our effectiveness when we're prospecting internally. All right. Who wants that scorecard? Does anyone want to check it out quick? Mark, I don't know how quickly we can pull it up, and maybe and Clara can drop it in a hangout. If you guys can pull that scorecard up.
I'm looking.
But what's that? Janet wants it. All right.
I'm looking. Worst case scenario, I get it out to him, but I'm looking.
Yeah.
Now.
So basically what the scorecard does is it breaks down the key components of a successful prospecting call. And it gives you an opportunity to kind of grade yourself to produce your own score on a scale 1 to 10. So for example, building a rapport and qualifying is the first score. How well you built value is the second score. How well you created desire to take the appointment and urgency is the third score. How well you trial closed and assumed the appointment is the second score, the fourth score. And then how well you overcame the objections, all right, is the fifth score. And then tracking your metrics and your mindset are the sixth and seventh score, right? And so it's a really great tool. And I want to share a story with you because this stupid little piece of paper, it's not stupid, that's the wrong word, because it's an awesome piece of paper, saved me. It literally saved me. So when I first got into real estate and I invested into a brokerage, and basically I was the operating manager. Is my responsibility to figure out how to get appointments out to the agents. And we were struggling really bad. We were struggling because we were spending a ton of money on leads, lots of money on leads. And what was happening, nobody was calling them on time. And I got frustrated. So I said, screw it, I'm going to make some calls. and what happened is I didn't have anybody to coach me. I was at the point where I just put a ton of money into this brokerage and I just didn't have a budget at that time to go and hire a coach. And so I developed this little scorecard method to be a self-coaching mechanism because it's just me at this point. Nobody else was prospecting with me. And what I would do is routinely take this scorecard and after each call, just take 1 minute and go through the scorecard and just say, okay, this is what I could have done. This is what I could have done. And it's called the Kaizen Principle. If you want to write this down, pop it in this chat. Okay, I call this the Kaizen Principle. And the background on this principle, for those of you that haven't heard of it, I believe it comes from Asia, particularly. I think it might actually it might be China where they developed this. What's that? Japan. Thank you, Ron. So where basically they developed this mechanism where they would ask themselves 2 questions constantly: what went well, and what can I do better? And they constantly ask those questions. And so I built that principle into this scorecard. And so what ended up happening, I went from being absolutely miserable at prospecting and horrible at it, okay, to within a very short period of time being able to call an appointment, being able to overcome some objections, get the appointment the same day, and Ron's experienced this actually, and then have a listing agent go out on that appointment and get the listing within 24 to 48 hours, right? Where you can get an appointment the same day. And there's a whole lot in there we're going to unpack, but my goal for you and your team, whoever's going to be doing this, is to feel so confident when you're prospecting that it's not, it's never fun, right, per se, but you know what to expect, and you become deadly because you can almost predict your income and predict your results. And so with that framework in mind, we'll get you that scorecard. Cool. We got some, oh, cool. Thank you, Donnie, for the it's been a long time since I've read up on the Kaizen Principle. That's cool. We'll check that out for sure. I love it. So with that in mind, all right, when we're prospecting, just check out that scorecard, see if it works for you. If it's not that scorecard, develop some sort of mechanism where you got some self-reflection. So if your goal is to make 10 contacts, this is an example of a journal, okay? A sales journal that each one of our team members keeps, okay? And basically what it does is it's a little process. It's a checklist here, and it helps us keep contact. Whoop, zone in here, okay? You can see the contacts, our priorities, and then here we do the evaluation on what went well and what we can do different. And we do that every single day. Now I want you to imagine if you and your team did that every single day, right? Committed to how many contacts, did this evaluation process, and you did that every single day, what would happen to your organization, right? Or at least more consistently, what would happen to the number of transactions that you could do? How exciting would that be? Where can I get the book? Great question. I'll send you a link to where we order them, okay? And you know what, Jonathan? For everyone who joined this, everyone who's on here right now that's committed to this call, okay? I'm going to give you guys, I'm going to buy one for you guys for free, okay? So let's record who's going to be on this. I want to get them one of these. I want to pay for one of these for free.
You'll have to
for
figure
committing
out.
to be on here. What's that?
I will come up with a way. We got to make sure we get their actual addresses so we can probably mail it to them, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So how about this? If you want a free sales journal, okay? If you want a free sales journal, put your address in the chat. If you want a free journal.
How about this?
I don't know. Is there another way you can think of?
Yes. Send your
There you
address
go.
to support
Better.
at
That's much better.
That way
Thank
we can
you.
track it.
Thank you. Janet already put hers in. Thank you, Janet. But yeah, go to support. Okay. And yeah, you're welcome, Tammy. I appreciate you guys. So yeah, definitely give us a 2-week turnaround, and it'll be in your mailbox. Okay. Or at your front door, whatever it may be. All right. These are unbelievable though. Unbelievable tool. So where was I? What were we just talking about? I just lost my train of thought. Okay, so we were talking about tracking our results and the difference and what that could mean to us. All right, so let's dive into a script now. All right, let's talk about the script. And Mark, what I want you to do is do some role play with Christina. And doesn't matter, I don't really want to focus as much on the script right now as much as tone, right? And walking through how to make a geographical phone call. By the way, I want to state this, even though we're talking about geographical farming, if you're not used to prospecting, do not start with geographical farming, okay? No. If you haven't done prospecting or in your life, do not start with geographical farming unless they're in your queue, they've been interacting with you in the Database Pro service, and they're ranked hot. You might want to start with those if they've been interacting. But I'm just sharing with you, it's probably not the lead you want to start with because you'll be just disjointed. It's like a bad breakup with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and you're like, I never want to date again, right? So that might be the type of experience you have if you start with geographical farming, because it does take a little bit of a different skill level. Would you guys agree with that, Mark and Christine?
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
When it comes to circle prospecting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yep. And here's the thing, we're gonna go over different types of scripts. All right. So we're going to do a circle prospecting script. We're going to do a pure cold call script. And then in other sessions, we're going to go through what it sounds like to do like an open house script. Right. And so Mark and Christina, we'll circle back on what order we want to do that in each segment of this training in between weeks so that you guys have an opportunity to calibrate. But I want to hit the geographical farming from different perspectives. So Christina, whatever one you feel the most comfortable with right now is what we can role play.
Okay.
We'll do that for like the next 10, 15 minutes and then open up for some Q&A.
Okay.
I'll be your homeowner whenever you're ready, or unless you wanted to be it, Isaiah.
Nope, go ahead, Mark.
Beautiful.
Ring, 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 ring.
Yeah, hello?
Hi, is this Mark?
Yeah, who's this?
But hi, Mark. This is Chris. I'm giving you a call from Ron Maz's real estate office. How you doing today?
Good. What's going
Um,
on?
well, I'm calling because we've been seeing a lot of homes sold in your area, and it's actually sparked a lot of interest from other buyers as well. And we're just curious, maybe if you or anyone you know has considered selling their home in the near future.
No, I haven't. No, I mean nobody that's really talked about it. Maybe. Actually, you know what? There was one gentleman down the street from me that tried to sell his home a while back. So I do know
Okay.
that one, but I don't have any family. We're probably at least a couple of years out. Personally, we're not really in the mode right now, of selling. You said
Okay.
homes have been selling lately?
Yeah, it's really they're selling at a historical record in your area. It's amazing, and we just have buyers that they want to live where you are.
Mhm.
I'm sure you understand why. It's a nice spot, and we're even if it's a few years out, we'd love the opportunity to be able to maybe reach back out to you, kind of keep you informed on upcoming events that are going on in the market, and if there is any interest sooner rather than later, at least you'd have our information and can reach back out. um, and
Okay.
you said somebody a couple doors down had tried to sell a few years ago then.
There you go.
Well, I did. I mean, I have seen that one was probably, within the past 6 months, and there have been
Okay.
others that have sold generally, just not on our street. No one's put it up, but I know in the general neighborhood, there's been some signs up, and I just don't pay all that close attention because it hasn't been in our wheelhouse.
No, no, but hey, you're right there. So that little bit of information is extremely helpful. It sounds like maybe it was a for sale by owner sign that you saw pop up over there, like it wasn't one of the official listing signs.
No, it looked like it was a regular brokerage sign.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Oh well, perfect. You don't happen to remember the guy's name or number of the house, do you?
Yeah, actually, it's the red house down the street from me. I think it's I don't know, 27.
Okay, 27. I'm gonna have to get out my detective skills and see what I can come up with. Well,
Yeah, so I'll just stop you guys there. One of the things when it comes to geographical farming is it's an in and out type of thing too. Like unless you develop some good rapport with them and you got some commonality and you think that it could turn into a relationship down the road, you got to be careful how much time we're spending on per call, because we want to make sure we got an hour to get through 20 contacts. We want to make sure that we get through them, right? And so I totally respect where Christine is going. She's doing a phenomenal job, and I think you're starting to sense, is this a waste of time, or is this where am I going with this? Is kind of what I felt you're starting to sense, right? And that's totally cool. It's just understand the balance between, okay, is this person interested in selling? Do they know anybody that's really interested in selling? If not, I got to move on, right? Does that
Right.
make sense to everybody? Say
Yep.
aye, right? Does that make sense? So,
Can I add one thing, Isaiah?
yeah, go ahead. Yep.
The reason that she goes in and does not ask me directly if I'm trying to sell again is by design, because when you
Yes.
call a geo and you ask them if they're
Yes.
interested in selling, super evasive.
You get totally
Right?
different
Yeah.
answer. Yep.
Totally different answer. So what you're trying to get out of that geo call is, and I didn't bite on that one because I just wanted to have a regular conversation. We could do another one that shows what we're trying to get out of that question.
Yep.
So I apologize, maybe it went in a little bit different direction on that one. So
No, that's
you
totally
mind
fine.
if we do it?
Yeah, I want you to
I
start
was
from the
picking
top
up
and
two
do it again.
leads at once there, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. So I love the strategy. That's how I do it as well, Mark, is that if you go in and you're trying to hit that person direct, you're going to get a totally different response,
Right.
and probably lose out an opportunity, to your point, on somebody else that might be selling in the neighborhood, right?
Yep.
So cool. Let's start it from the top, Christina.
Yep, and this is what it's designed to do right here with somebody who is roughly in the wheelhouse of maybe this coming season.
Yep.
Donnie
said this is better than Twilight.
Yeah.
I'm scared. I'm not sure what he means by that.
I don't know either.
Is that good or bad, Donnie?
Yeah. Cool. Well, while Donnie responds, well, very good. Okay.
Oh, very good. Okay, thank you.
Cool. Cool. Let's have some fun with it, right?
Okay.
You know what, Ron?
Oh,
we're gonna go Ron house. Ron's gonna be the seller.
Oh, come on.
Ron's gonna be the seller, and then after that, Beatty's gonna be the seller, and then after that, I'm gonna be the seller. And
What
we're gonna
did I do to deserve this? Okay, hold on.
And you know what,
Geo,
Christina,
huh?
we might give you a break, and maybe Mark can prospect a little bit, and I can prospect too. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's been an old time since I've been with Ron. I wouldn't mind shooting Ron. I know
That's
I know he's gonna slam the door in my face, but all right.
Yeah.
All right. I'll give Ron a shot.
Oh, go. I was gonna say, you going? Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you a break. I'll do one and then you do one. So.
Okay. Cool.
All
So
right.
Ron's gonna go. Mark's gonna go with Ron.
Yep, I'll go with Ron. So. Ring.
Yeah.
Hello, is this Ron?
Yeah, it is. Who's this?
Hi, Ron. This is Mark Howell calling with RHA Realty here in Rochester. Just wanted to give you a quick call. We've been seeing homes move really well in the neighborhood, and just wanted to reach out and chat with you because we see homes moving so well because of low inventory and low interest rates. Just kind of wondering if if you knew anybody that might be thinking of selling in the area at all, or family.
I'm not selling my house. How did you get my phone number?
Oh yeah, I wasn't talking about you directly. I get these things from, I look around kind of in a geographical area where we see people selling the most, and homes going above market value. So just checking with homeowners to see if they know anybody. If you're not interested in talking personally, that's fine. I mean, you haven't really thought about selling your home at all then, huh?
No, I haven't. My neighbor down the street, though, he's talking about it.
Oh yes, which one?
I don't know. The guy down the street, I don't know him that well.
Oh, gotcha. You don't mind if I ask color house?
Yeah, he's in a greenhouse, the guy.
Greenhouse, okay.
He never cuts his grass either.
He never cuts his grass, so you need somebody in there, huh? That keeps it nicer for you.
Yeah, I'd like that. A lot.
All right. You don't happen to have a first name on that gentleman, do you?
Yeah, stupid. I don't like this guy. I call him stupid.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Ron, I really appreciate it. I'm going to reach out to Stupid and see if we can get that grass cut and get him moved out of there. All right.
Yeah, thanks. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and from a mindset standpoint, it's really, really important to understand that this is a frequency game, right? When you're doing geographical farming, it's a frequency game. And that's why we recommend letting the technology do some of the work, right? So if you go into your system, if you had people that have been interacting with your emails, if you have the hot ranked leads sitting in there when it comes to geographical farming, when you, what am I texting? Like any sort of interacting you're getting, those are the targets. And Jonathan, what's our client's name? Bill Uraski, right? So are you familiar with his strategy? I can explain it. I just wonder if you're familiar with it.
I know he is one of the most diligent cold callers out there. He is a master of building rapport. Literally, you give that guy 30 seconds on the phone with anybody he's talking to, he's on a first name basis. And that really, I mean, that's not the core of his strategy, but that's one of his strongest suits. And I know he does have he does multiple calls, 3 to 5 calls to every single lead we give to him. And that's how he really maximizes what he's been doing with us.
Yep. He follows the 8 to 12 touch principle overall, where he makes sure 3 to 5 of them are himself, and then technology does the rest. So what he'll do is he'll wake up in the morning, he'll open up his dashboard, and then he'll look at who's interacting with the emails, all right, and who's ranked hot, and that's who he calls. And he commits to making 20 contacts on his geographical farming, and then or his have-nots for other leads too. And then he makes 20 calls on throughout the rest of his database. And that's his process. And he closed over 10 transactions last year on the geographical leads using using that method, and an average sales price point of, I think, over like $300,000 or $350,000. So you can do the math on, 10 transactions, what he made just by committing to that process. And that's not including any buyer transactions he got off those listings and any referrals. So total, if you added all of that in, he ended up doing around 15, 17 transactions just off of that method. So cool. Who wants to go next?
What do I have? Is Beatty up next?
Yeah, Beatty's going to be the seller. Beatty's going to be the seller.
Okay, Beatty,
I can tell he's going to be a real prick. I can just tell. I can just see.
I don't know. Nobody beats Ron. Just look at Ron. He's like,
yeah, I don't think I could be worse than Ron.
Yeah.
From experience, real experience, I've heard these things.
He's absolutely right. And just one of
Donnie's like, that's my
right?
street. I just saw that. Donnie's like, that was my street.
Donnie's the man in the greenhouse.
Yeah, the man in the greenhouse.
When you guys when you get somebody that comes at you like Ron does, where he's going to hit, he's going to hit you hard. I find a really good way of dealing with that is assume the no. That's why I went right after him and I said, you're not interested in selling your house at all. And something came out of that because I was assuming that, I wasn't putting any pressure on him giving me a yes about anything. I was assuming the no against him. You're not thinking about selling your house. And then he comes out with his neighbor, because I made it comfortable for a guy that's not about to give you any information.
That's smart.
Yeah, and depending on how many times they've been touched through the other technology, it's going to determine how cold or warm it is. And you have to almost tiptoe in. And if anything, at least get the agent, your name or the agent's name, and in our case, in front of someone another time. Get the name and the brokerage out there. So
also, Mark was not intimidated at all. That was so good. He kept his cool. He knew it was going to be a short conversation. And actually, when I hung up, I wasn't mad at him calling me.
Yep.
I mean, he kept his cool, and I didn't feel bad at all.
Yep. And because he's not really prospecting on you directly either, so it's harder to be mad at that, right? Mm-hmm. So good, awesome. All right, Beatty.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Ring, ring.
Hello, this is Beatty.
Oh, hi, Beatty. This is Chris, and I was just giving you a quick call from Ron Mazza's real estate office. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. What are you selling?
I was going to say, you're probably wondering why I'm calling. You sound a little confused.
Not confused. Sound like a telemarketer. So I'll give you a minute.
Oh, my goodness. That is the last thing I want to sound like.
That's the truth. That's what we'll hear, though. That's what we'll hear. Yeah.
That is the last thing I want to sound like, Beatty. I apologize. I'm just giving you a quick call because we've actually seen a lot of houses sell in your neighborhood, and we have so many buyers, and we're just wondering if you knew of anybody in the neighborhood or possibly even yourself that are considering selling the house right now.
I'm not. I just bought this one a few years back, but there is someone down the road that's talking about selling.
Okay, fantastic. You wouldn't happen to know the people's first name, any information that might help?
I think it's 2308.
Okay, 2308.
And I think her first name is Carol.
Carol. Mm-hmm. Beta, that is very, very helpful. I appreciate that. And thank you so much for your time. And I'm going to have to work on not sounding so telemarketing,
Well, you sound like a telemarketer only because I don't know you, and therefore it must be a sales call.
Okay, that's fair. Well, Beatty, thanks. I appreciate the honest feedback too, and the information.
You're welcome.
Thanks a lot.
Maybe he was a little tougher than Ron. I don't know.
But the funny part is, that would have been my natural response, and the lady at 2308 is thinking about selling.
Perfect.
Oh, wow.
Now, what street do you live on, and what? I'm gonna have to do some research.
Yeah.
I wrote it down.
I've been meaning to call the agent who sold her the house 15 years ago and let her know.
Let her know what's up.
I just hadn't gotten around to it yet.
Very cool. All right, so we wanted to open up for some Q&A. The nice thing about a geographical call is it's actually more about mindset and staying positive and being willing to be consistent than it is actual just talent alone. Because it's kind of a yes or no answer. Would you guys agree with that? Like it's very different than a forced sale by owner and expired or a lead that came, or a seller lead that came in. Like we work with ZBuyer for our brokerage. It's one of our lead sources. And we know pretty much, Christina, they're in that sales, they're in the selling cycle, right? They're thinking about listing or they're thinking about buying, right? So with geographical farming, the hot leads, you got a 1 in statistically, when you call our hot leads, you got a 1 in 3, 1 in 5 chance they're within 3 months when you call our hot leads. So it's a lot of it is just getting the reps out and in finding that right opportunity, so you can kind of have a little fun with it. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
So, all right. So do we have any questions from our attendees here? We want to kind of open it up for any Q&A when it comes to geographical farming. This kind of concludes our series on geographical farming, and it's going to help us we're going to roll into the 21-day challenge, which is going to be to dominate a geographical farm. We're going to launch that. And then in this weekly training, we're going to start taking a deep dive into prospecting and sales. Ron's got a really awesome training that he's going to deliver when it comes to a listing presentation. And if you haven't done so yet, and you haven't integrated postcards with your geographical farming strategy, and you're still thinking about whether you should do it or not, Beatty is the best when it comes to postcards, the best, and working a cost-effective solution to be able to do that. And so, Beatty, I know I'm hoping you can join us during this 21-day challenge. It's not, you don't have to be around every day, but join us throughout this journey, just in case they want to do postcards or they have any questions about postcards or whatever it may be, and and go from there. So let's see, do we have anything else, any questions, any thoughts? Okay, so here's
Donnie had something.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, he said, can I get a link to the marketing plan from last week?
Yeah, absolutely. I think do you mean the training from last week, Donnie? Is that what you're saying? The training that we did last week? I want to clarify. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yep, for sure. Jonathan, Clara, I want to put these 7 steps, like this pathway, onto a graphic. Okay. A lot like what we did with the 90-day journey. Okay. So that way we can kind of have a nice summary, just a 1-page summary of what this graphic would look like and what we're going to be going through in the 21-day challenge. We can kind of work on that, but just to put that out there. Can we know the details of the 21-day challenge? Janet, a great question. The details are going to be coming probably by Monday or Tuesday to your inbox. Okay. We're going to develop a nice page to be able to go through what the challenge includes, what we hope for you to accomplish, what that looks like, and that'll all be kind of like in one nice neat document that'll come to your inbox as we start marketing it to our clients. And again, if you're a current client, it's free. And then if there's going to be some other people joining us, but they will have to pay for it, okay, to be involved in the 21-day challenge. Okay. So wrapping up, I hope I hope there's some takeaways here, and I'll give you guys an idea what to expect over the next 6 to 7 weeks. But we got to make sure our business plan, our sales and marketing activities match our business plan, make sure they're coming together. So check in on that. You focus on listings, find a way to draw more listings. Okay. And then master the art and science of prospecting. Right. And that's not just by phone. There's other ways to prospect, but leverage your technology, the technologies that we've given you, and then get into a pattern, commit to that frequency of prospecting, and watch your business soar. Watch it skyrocket. If you're consistent with it over the course of 3 to 6 months, your business will skyrocket. Okay. So it's the best way to be able to predict your income is be consistent with your prospecting. That's what I hope you guys got out of the training. Let's give Christina a round of applause and Mark a round of applause for doing some role play.
Good
Okay.
job.
Now here's the thing, before you sign off, here's what you can expect. All right. We're going to take a deep dive into prospecting and lead generation on every type of lead source you can think of. And each one of those involves a role play on the script and the objection. Okay. We're past the fluff. It's all going to be scripts and objections on every single type of lead. All right. We're going to get into the sources, other sources of quality of leads that we use. We're going to get into unique ways to nurture and cultivate them using our technology. We're going to get into making sure that your appointments show up at a higher rate, okay, on a have not met lead. We're going to talk about delivering a successful sales presentation, taking a deep dive in what that looks like. I have mega agents from across the country, and actually some of you that I might like to invite on here that are going to help us walk through this conversation. And we're going to actually do a role play of a listing presentation, okay? We're going to talk about more effective ways to close the sale and to shorten your sales cycle. We're going to go through each objection that you're going to get and negotiation strategies. And here's the thing. I happen to be partnered with one of the best negotiators on the planet, and his name is Ron Mazza, that's negotiated hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of deals. There's no negotiation strategy that guy doesn't know, okay? Literally, yeah, that's right. That's right. There's 20 different closing strategies we're going to teach you at the closing table. 20 different strategies we're going to go through, different types of closes you can use, okay, depending on the circumstance and the situation, all right? We're going to talk about making sure your team is developing their skills, how to actually develop a sales and marketing culture within your team. All right. And then a whole lot of other things when it comes to execution and follow-up. We're going to drill down into all the points of failure that happen throughout the lead conversion process, and to make sure you can prevent them. And so this is my favorite part of because this is the one that I think is going to affect your income the most, and we're going to have the most success stories out of if you follow through and execute. And I want to let you know, look for your sales calendar, or sorry, your sales journal. We'll be sending that in the mail, and make sure you do not miss the next 7 weeks. It's going to be powerful, and invite your team to come. Invite your team to come. They're not going to want to miss this. Literally, just so you guys know, we're going to be walking through this whole thing, right? We're going to be going through a lot of awesome stuff, and I'm going to get you a copy of this manual that has not even been released to the public yet, and you're going to get a copy of it. Everything we're going to cover is in this manual, this prospecting manual, and it's not even been released to the public. I've been working on it for a long, long time. You guys will get first right to it, and we'll go from there. So with that, I hope you guys have an awesome week. Go out and crush it, and we'll see you next week.